Sarvebhyo namaskaraha. Start with the prayer. Vande tam madavaranendra vadanam madbhagadheyakritim shunda danda suchalanena jagatam mayantaraya mayan vidravya pranati prasanna hridayo yonukta eva swayam rakshatyanvahamatmanoti virudam vaidyesha putrabhidham. So we were looking at the dialogue that was happening between Karataka and Damanaka, the two Mantri Putras who were Sada Anuyayi of this Raja Pingalaka, of the king Pingalaka Simha. So he had two Anuyayis, followers. So they belonged to the inner circle, but they were Bhrashtadhikaris. Bhrashtadhikarau Mantriputrau. So those two were not, somehow they had lost their position of power and they were now still followers of the king, but did not have a respectable position, an honorable position. So Damanaka starts by asking, why do you think Asmat Swami Pingalakaha Kimartham Vipasakulaha api Kimartham Nivritya Vyuharachanam Kurvan Naste? So why is he making a vyuha, even though when he is thirsty, he has not even completed the task and he has come back? Then Karataka says, why bother yourself with somebody else's vyapara? So that is not our business. It is the business of the king. So it is better we don't meddle with something that is not directly connected to us. Otherwise, you will perish like the monkey that pulled out the wedge. Kilotpati vanaraha iva saha nidhanameva yati. Yaha avyapareshu vyaparam tattum prabhavati. Iti hyaha drishtaha. So he finishes the story and he says, so I have already told you what happened to the monkey that pulled the wedge. Right? So ataha aham bravimi avyapareshu iti. So that is why I say avyapareshu na vyaparaha kartavyaha. So you should not meddle in matters that are outside of your jurisdiction. Okay, that do not belong to you. Avayoho bhakshita sheshaha aharaha astyeva. So, and also it is not that our survival is at stake. We get bhakshita shesha ahara. So when all the animals finish off eating, okay, bhakshita shesha. So what is left out is always given to the jackals. So we can be happy with that. Bhakshita sheshaha aharaha avayoho astyeva tat labhate. So tat asmabhihi labhyate. So we get it. We get that. So there should be no problem. Tat kim anena vyaparena. Then what is the purpose of meddling, poking our nose in this vyapara? Damanakaha aha tat kim bhavan ahararthi kevalameva tannayuktam. So at this point, Damanaka starts saying, you are just worried about survival. You just care about ahara, which is not right. That is not a good attitude to have. Tannayuktam. Such an attitude itself is detrimental. It is not fine, should not be encouraged. Why? Uktanchayataha suhridam upakaranat dvishatam apyapakaranat drupasamshraya yushyate budhair jatharam kona vibharti kevalam. Saw this verse yesterday. We will visit it again. Suhridam upakaranat dvishatam apakaranat api budhaihi nrupasamshrayaha yushyate. Budhaihi, budhajanaihi, buddhimadbhihi janaihi. The wise men aspire for nrupasamshraya. They aspire for royal patronage. Why? So that they can help their friends. Suhridam upakaranat dvishatam apakaranat. To help your friends and to deal with your foes. There are twofold benefits of serving the king. When you have the royal patronage, you can help your friends and you can help them come up the ladder, help them rise. And also you can deal with your foes. the foes, enemies, apakarana. Kevalam jatharam kona vibharti. So just supporting jathara, just supporting your stomach, that is feeding your stomach. Kova nakaroti, who does not do it? It is not a great thing to just survive. Kaha na jatharam vibharti. Vibharti comes from bhru dhatu, okay, which means to support. Okay, poshana, dharana poshana. Okay, so to support something, to nurture something, that is bhru. It comes in juhotyadi gana. Vibharti, vibhritaha, vibhrati rupani bhavanti. It is a bit difficult. It's like dadati. Dadati also comes in the same gana. So dvitva happens. So every dhatu that is listed in the juhotyadi gana gets doubled, like jahati, dadati, vibharti, evam rupa. Go to the next verse now. Yasmin jivati jivanti bhavassotra jivatu vayamsi kim na kuruvanti chanchva sodara puranam. Yasmin jivati jivanti bhavaha sotra jivatu vayamsi kim na kuruvanti chanchva sodara puranam. So once again, this is emphasized. What? Svodara Puranam alone is not sufficient. That is not a sufficient, that cannot be declared as the purpose of life. You have to do something else with your life, not just Svodara Purana. Jathara Bharana, Jathara Purana alone cannot be called as the purpose of life, and one cannot be happy with it. It is not the right attitude to have. Yasmin Jivati Bahavaha jivanti. Yasmin jane jivati sati. So, yada kasyapi manushyasya jivanena, yasya jivanena, bahavaha jivanti. Bahavaha janaha jivanti. That is, I am able to be of use to many people. If I am in such a position that my life can give life to many people. Bahavaha yena jivanti. Saha jivatu, he alone can live. May he live long. So may that person alone flourish. May glory be upon him who can ensure the survival or jivana of many others when he lives. Yasmin jivati sati bahavaha janaha jivanti saha atra jivatu. May he live longer, may he prosper. Kim vayamsi chanchva svodara puranam nakuruvanti. So he is asking, vayamsi. Vayamsi here refers to birds. Okay. So vayamsi, vayaha, vayasi, vayamsi. So vayamsi, do the birds not fill their stomachs with their small beak? Chanchu. Okay, it's the beak. Chanchva. With the beak, through the beak. Do the birds not keep pecking grains? How much do you think they can collect in their lifetime? Or in just even in one go, this much of grain they are satisfied with, that they are able to peck with their beak, small beak, right? Tena vayamsi chanchva, taya chanchva, swa udara puranam, filling their stomachs, they are doing it. Are you not more capable than a mere bird, which is this small? Okay, so do you want to live like a bird? Do you want to live like a crow and die? Okay, or do you want to do something else with your life? So he tries to, bring some vigor in the heart of Damanaka, in the heart of Karataka, who is very tired, who seems very tired, or is not. See, Karataka is also a wise person only, because he knows the difficulties, or he has seen the world enough so that he understands what happens because of too much of ambition. Okay, so he knows the disadvantages of a lot of ambition, too much of ambition, wherein you start meddling, you start getting into areas that do not belong to you. When you get into such an area, there is a lot of risk, and Karataka, like an old soul, does not want risk. But we can think of Damanaka as a young person with a lot of vigor, who has an enterprising attitude. Okay, so he wants to take risk and do things, while Damanaka is like an older soul who wants to enjoy his life in a laid-back manner. That is the difference between the two. Right. So now Damanaka says, Don't you say, do you want to live like a bird that will just fill its stomach and then pass away? And then another verse, same spirit. Yajjivyate kshanamapi prathitam manushyair vijnana shaurya vibhava arya vibhavarya gunais sametam tannama jivitamiha pravadanti tajñah kakopi jivati chiraya balincha bhunte. Yajjivyate kshanamapi prathitam manushyair vijnana shaurya vibhavarya gunais sametam tannama jivitamiha pravadanti tajñah kakopi jivati chiraya balincha bhunte. So here again he says, what is a well-lived life? Okay, what is a well-lived life? When can you say that you have lived a fine life? Is it a long, dull life, or even a short life characterized by all these qualities? Even though a short span of time, but if your life is going to be characterized by these qualities, then it could be called as a complete life, a fulfilling life. Manushyehi, see the anvaya, there is not much of a yat jivyate, yat jivyate. Okay, there is sandhi here. Yat jivyate kshanam api prathitam manushyehi vijnana shaurya vibhava arya gunaihi sametam tat nama jivitam iha. Tat nama jivitam iha pravadanti tajñaha kakaha api jivati chiraya balim cha bhunte. So see, manushyehi janaihi vijnana shaurya vibhava arya gunaihi sametam kshanamapi prathitam yat jivyate. So even for just a very short moment, okay, kshanam api, ksanamatram api, manushyehi janaihi vijnana shaurya vibhava arya gunaihi sametam prathitam yat jivyate. So a life that is characterized by Vijnana, we will see what is Vijnana first, because there is Jnana and Vijnana. See, Vijnana in today's parlance, we use it in the sense of science. But Vijnana can be understood as experiential knowledge. Jnana is intellectual. Okay, Jnana is the knowledge of something, but it is intellectual knowledge. But Vijnana is experiential knowledge. You can call it wisdom. Okay, so even in the Gita, there is a famous verse, Jnanam Vijnanam Astikyam Brahma Karma Swabhavajam. Okay, so when Krishna is talking about the qualities or the swabhava of a Brahmana, he says Jnana, Vijnana and Astikya are natural qualities, are natural characteristics of Brahmana. So who can be called a Brahmana? He has to have an interest and aptitude for knowledge, intellectual knowledge. He has to have an aptitude for it and an interest in it. And then he also has to have vijnana. So the intellectual knowledge, if it just remains intellectual, purely intellectual, just operating in the domain of intellect, just in operating in the domain of buddhi, it will not be internalized. Internalized experiential jnana is called vijnana. And then astikya, which is shraddha, etc. These are the natural qualities of a Brahmana, is what Krishna says. So here again, so Vijnana, we can understand it as wisdom. Okay, in this context, experiential wisdom. And then Shaurya, Shaurya is valor. And then Vibhava, Vibhava is riches, wealth. And then Arya Guna, Arya Guna is the gunas that are present in an honorable person. Arya Guna, so the guna qualities that are noble virtues, we can say, right? Arya Guna is noble virtues. So Yetaihi gunaihi sametam prathitam kshanamapi. So characterized by these gunas, a life lived even for a short while, yat jivyate. Evam yat jivyate, a life thus lived, iha tat jivitam nama. In this loka, that alone is called as a life. That alone is a life well lived. Iti tajñaha pravadanti. So who says this? Tajnaha, tat ye jananti, those who know about life. Okay. So those who know, so the great men who have lived fine lives, they say that this is an ideal life. It is their vachana. Tajnaha vadanti. So great men mention this. Kakaha api chiraya jivati balim bhumtecha. So how is the life of a crow? Crow is long lived generally. So chiraya jivati. Okay, it lives for a long time. But for whose benefit? Balim bhumte. Lives long and just feeds on bali. Bali is an upahara, an offering. Okay, so crow feeds on something that is offered by others, right? So it is just living a pathetic life, but it is living a long life. What is the use of such a life? Is what Damanaka is asking. So why do you want to live like a crow? Okay, why do you want to live like an insignificant person and perish? Why don't you want to make something out of your life and make a mark for yourself in this world? Is what Damanaka is asking. I hope it is clear. Go to the next verse. So we are going to be seeing a lot of verses today, not much of Gadya Bhaga. Yonatmana na cha parena cha bandhu varge dine dayam na kurute na cha bhritya varge kim tasya jivita phalam hi manushya loke kakopi jivati chiraya balincha bhungte. Yonatmana na cha parena cha bandhu varge dine dayam na kurute na cha bhritya varge kim tasya jivita phalam hi manushya loke kakopi jivati chiraya balincha bhungte. So again, the same spirit is conveyed through different words. But before this, I would like to mention that, see, we all know the intention of Damanaka. Okay, Damanaka wants to seize this opportunity and rise. Okay, rise in the, in the ladder. Okay, so he wants to grab some high position and have a good life. Okay, so he is ambitious. So his ambition is what is driving him to talking all these things. So we cannot say that whatever is spoken here, for example, for the sake of benefiting others. Suhridam upakaranati, he is not aspiring. He has no friends. He does not want to do good to any of the friends. Nevertheless, the ideas that are conveyed through the mouth of Damanaka by the author, they are valid. Just because Damanaka happens to be such a cruel person who is exploiting these ideas does not invalidate the idea itself. So these ideas are themselves valid. So the author, that is what he is trying to convey. That is why these shlokas are listed. So we are not supposed to, understand the validity of these. We are not supposed to determine the validity of the ideas conveyed by the shloka in the context of Damanaka alone. That Damanaka is saying this, so he is just making this up. It is not that. Damanaka is just using these ideas to inspire Karataka in some way. But although we all know of his underlying intentions, okay, but that does not invalidate these ideas itself. The text as such wants to encourage, what can I call it? A business mindset, okay, wherein somebody is proactive, okay. The text does not encourage the life of, let us say, a recluse who has a very, who has resigned from life, who does not want to take any proactive measure at all. No, this text encourages risk-taking. It encourages entrepreneurial spirit. Okay, so all these are to be understood by the verses that are conveyed through Damanaka. It is conveyed by the author. So what does Damanaka say now? Yaha na atmana na parena cha bandhu varge dine bhritya varge cha dayam na kurute tasya manushya loke hi jivita phalam kim. So what is the purpose of such a life? Tasya janasya. Okay. What is the purpose of his life? Tasya janasya manushya lokehi. In this manushya loka, having come to this world, what is the use of his life? Tasya jivita phalam kim. Kasya yaha na atmana na parena cha. So neither by himself directly, na atmana, na parena, nor through others, bandhu varge dine bhritya varge cha dayam na kurute. The one who is not compassionate to his bandhu varga, okay, bandhu varga, his jati, mainly talking about his clan, his family, and extended family, the jati and kula. Okay, so bandhu varge yaha dayam na kurute, bhritya varge cha. So bhritya varga is his, again, it belongs to his own parivara janas, those who are serving him. So the one who does not have compassion towards his people and all those who are serving him, what is the point of his life? Tasya manushya loke hi jivita phalam kim bhavati kim syat kakaha api chiraya jivati balim bhunte. Even the crow lives longer and feeds himself. Okay. So what is the idea that is driven here? It is that one should not live just for yourself. You have to live for a larger cause. You have to live. In the olden days, in the world of Panchatantra, it was mainly for one's large family. Okay, so the family was the central unit then, right? So even obtaining royal patronage, it is not to fulfill your own ambitions, but to uplift your entire clan. Because of your position, it is you can benefit your entire kula, your entire jati community. That is why you aspire for this position. That is why you must do this, is what the author is saying. So that was the prevalent attitude then. So even today, when somebody has a very important administrative position in the government, let us say, they all tend to benefit the near and dear ones. So we might there might be a question that jati is not relevant today, perhaps. It is still relevant in many parts of India, but even if we are going to talk about urban centers where jati is not relevant, etc., we still have a community is always there, right? So if somebody rises to a higher position in an administrative role today, even then he benefits members of his community. That community may not be a jati today. It could be an ideological community. It could be some sort of a community where he has friendship with. That community will definitely benefit, right? So that has to be done, is what the author is saying, that even if not for your own sake, in order that your rising in power can benefit 100 other people, you have to aspire for it. Dine bandhu varge bhritya varge cha yaha dayam na kurute. The one who is not compassionate in the sense here, it means the one who is not interested in making their lives better. Okay, in increasing the quality of their lives, the one who is not interested, tasya jivita phalam kim? What is the purpose of such a life? Kakaha api chiraya jivati balim bhunte. So kaka, the crow, also lives for a very long time and feeds on what is given by others, feeds on what is offered to it, okay, and takes care of just himself or her. The crow takes care of itself. It does not care about others. Again. Supura syat kunadika supuro mushikanjalihi sasantushtah kapurusha swalpakena pitushyati. Supura syat kunadika supuro mushikanjalihi sasantushtah kapurusha swalpakena pitushyati. Once again, the importance of ambition is conveyed. One has to be ambitious and want to expand, not be satisfied with what one has already got. So this is again the quality of an entrepreneur. So an entrepreneur cannot afford to be satisfied by his profits, right? So he has to once again think of multiplying them. So if he does not have that attitude, and if santushti is his attitude, then that becomes a brahmana guna. It is not a Vaishya guna at all. So if santushti is already there, then you have to do something else with your life. So this is not for you. We have mentioned it at the beginning itself that the entire text caters only to the first three purusharthas, not the parama purushartha moksha. So we don't have to talk about it here. So yatha kunadika supura syat mushikanjalihi yatha supuraha syat tathaiva sasantushtaha kapurushaha swalpakena api tushyati. So kunadika is a small stream. Okay. Small stream. So so a small stream can be full with very little water, right? So it does not require large volumes of water like a river in order to flow fully, right? So kunadika, a small rivulet, a small stream, supura syat, it can be filled, okay? It can be full with a very small amount of water. Similarly, mushikanjali. So anjali is the, this when both your palms, whatever amount of grain or something can be covered in this handful, a handful. Okay, so handful of mushikanjali. So imagine a mouse and its handful. Okay, it could be satisfied with just a handful of something that it gets. So mushikanjalihi supuraha syat, it can be full. Evameva kunadika supura syat, a rivulet can be full with swalpaka, with very little amount of water or some other dhanya, grain in the case of mushaka. Tathaiva sasantushtaha kapurushaha. So santushtihi tushtya sahitaha kapurushaha. So somebody who has santushti. A kapurusha is a adhama purusha. According to the text, somebody who has santushti has to be, he is worthy of ridicule and insult. So he is kutsita purusha. Kutsitaha purushaha kapurushaha. So the one who is worthy of ridicule, he becomes satisfied with very little amount of something. Swalpakena tushyati. Evam nakartavyam. This is not to be done, he says. Okay. The author says this is not to be encouraged. Oh, thank you. Go. So how do I pronounce that? I don't know. GOWPEN, handful. Okay. Thank you, sir. So kapurushaha swalpakena tushyati. Swalpakena triptim prapnoti. But that is not what is to be aimed at. The next verse. Again. Kim tena jatu jatena matur yawvana harina arohati nayaswasya vamshasya agre dhvajo yatha. Kim tena jatu jatena matur yawvana harina arohati nayaswasya vamshasya agre dhvajo yatha. Once again, the duty of a householder. Okay, so the ideal householder is an enterprising person according to Panchatantra, a businessman who wants to expand both his wealth and power. So such a person has a responsibility not just towards himself, but he has a responsibility towards his jati, towards his kula. So towards his vamsha, he has a responsibility. That is why the verse says, Yatha vamshasya agre dhvajaha bhavati. So a dhvaja, that is, a dhvaja is a flag. Okay, that is tied at the end of a bamboo staff. Okay, there's a huge long bamboo staff, and there is a dhvaja that is flying on the top of it. Similarly, vamsha refers to bamboo. Okay, so there are two meanings for vamsha. One is bamboo, the other one is your clan, your kula. So vamshasya agre dhvajaha yatha unnata sthane vartate. It is at such a height, right? Unnata sthane dhvajaha yatha vartate evameva yaha swasya vamshasya agre na arohati. The one who does not climb the ladder of fame and put his clan at a very high position, swasya vamshasya agre na arohati. The one who does not climb the ladder of fame and put one's clan there. So when he climbs up the ladder, his entire vamsha climbs up the ladder, right? Vamshasya agre yaha na arohati. Tena matuhu yawvana harina jatena jatu kim. So what is the use of his birth? Tena jatena kim. Okay. Jatu is an avyaya. It means at all. What is his purpose at all? What, if you have to translate into English, I can say at all. What is his purpose ever? What is it at all? Does it have any meaning at all? Tena jatena tasya janmana kimva phalam. Ekameva phalam vartate. Saha matuhu yauvana hari bhavati. His only purpose that he has achieved in this birth is that he has taken away the youth of his mother. Okay. Matuhu yauvana harina tena jatena kim. So the only thing that he has done is he has taken away the yauvana of his mother. Other than that, he has done no useful thing. He has not accomplished one thing, and he has to be ridiculed. He has to be put down. Such a person is not an ideal for us. He should not be emulated. He should be ignored. Matuhu yauvana harina tena jatena kim. Harina, harin. Okay, is the Mula Shabda. Hari, Harino, Harinaha. Bhavati Harina. Iti Tritiyayam Rupam Bhavati. Tritiya Bhakti Ekavachanam Harina. Matuhu Yauvana Harina. The one who has taken away his mother's youth by such a person, by the birth of such a person, what is the point? Is what the shloka says. Now, again, same idea, other different words. Parivartini samsare mritah ko va na jayate jatastu ganyate sotra yasphurecha shriyadhikaha. Parivartini samsare mritah ko va na jayate jatastu ganyate sotra yasphurecha shriyadhikaha. Parivartini samsare mritaha kahava najayate jataha tu jatastu asti chedaha karaniyaha jataha tu ganyate saha atra yaha sphuret cha shriya adhikaha. So he says mritaha kahava najayate asmin parivartini samsare. So idam samsaram kidrisham. How is this samsara? Parivartini vartate. Parivartin. Okay. So parivartini vartate. So this is saptami vibhakti. Samsara. Parivartini samsare. So in this samsara, that is ever changing. Okay. Ever changing into. So what is changing? Birth, death, birth, death, birth, death. Cycle is there. Janma marana, janma marana. Evam rupena parivartini samsare. Mritaha kahava na jayate. So who is it that is dead is not born again? Mritaha bhavati chet kopi mritaha tadanantaram tasya ka sthitihi tatra chintaniyam kimapi nasti tatra vicharasya avashyakata eva nasti yatohi saha nischaya rupena punaha jayate janma prapnotyeva. So he will once again definitely be born. He's not going to get moksha, is what he's saying. So definitely he'll be born again, born again, born again. So, what is the point of being born and dying? Take birth, die, take birth, die. So, this cannot be considered real birth. So, who can be considered worthy of, having, who can be said that he is really born? So, atratu saha jataha ganyate. In this samsara, he alone is counted as having born. Okay, he alone is considered as being born. Yaha shriya adhikaha sphuret. Spurana is to shine. The one who outshines others. Okay, adhikaha sphuret. Kaya shriya, because of his own virtues. Okay, shrihi not just refers to wealth, it refers to all the virtues in this context. So yaha Atmanaha Shriya, because of one's virtues, outshines others. That person alone can be considered to have been born in this world. Otherwise, people keep coming and going, and this is a changing samsara. Parivartini asmin samsare mritaha kahava najayate. Who is it that is dead is not born again? Easy one only. The next one. Again. Jatasya nadi tire tasya pitrunasya janma saphalyam yatsalila majjana kulajana hastalambanam bhavati. Jatasya nadi tire tasya pitrunasya janma saphalyam yatsalila majjana kulajana hastalambanam bhavati. So be of little use to others. At least something you should do for the sake of others. Here others refer to your own people, your bandhu varga, your jati, your kula. So people whom you think as belonging to you, you have to do something for them. Like whom? Like nadi tire jatasya trunasya janma saphalyam bhavati. So you take the example of a grass, okay? Grass that grows on the banks of a river. Nadi tire jatasya trunasyapi janma saphalyam bhavati. Its janma saphalya, its janma becomes successful when yasyat salila majjana akula jana hastalambanam bhavati. Salila majjana akula janaha. So the person who majjana means to drown. Okay. So a person who is drowning in water, salila majjana tena akulaha. Okay. So because of that, he is, he's troubled. Okay. He's drowning. At that time, this grass can become a hastalamba for him. Hastalamba, it can become it can offer protection. Okay, so the one's hand can take support of that grass, okay, and perhaps save his life. Okay, so by being of such, by providing itself for such a use, okay, for such an activity, that it becomes the hastalambana for a person who is drowning. This grass that grows on the banks of a river attains janma saphalya. Its birth becomes meaningful. Janmanaha saphalyam. Getting some meaning for your life. That is when you will call it a successful life. Right? So yasmat karanat salila majjana akula jana hastalambanam bhavati, because of which this grass becomes a support for a person who is drowning in water. Tasya nadi tire jatasya trunasya, that truna, that grass that grows on the bank of the tree, attains janma saphalya. It makes its life meaningful. It does not go away just like that. So even a trina that grows on the bank of a tree can be useful for the others in this way. Why not human beings? Why not you, Karataka? Why do you want to propose such a, such a vigorless, dull outlook of life? Why do you want to do that? You can do great things, be inspired, have some vigor in life, and let us go and achieve great things. Why not such an attitude? Why do you want to resign and have such a dull attitude? Is what Damanaka is asking. Again, another verse. We're going to have a lot of verses today, as I mentioned earlier. Stimitonnata sanchara jala santapa harinaha jayante viralaloke jaladaiva sajjanaha. Stimitonnata sanchara jana santapa harinaha jayante viralaloke jaladaiva sajjanaha. No. Sajjanaha are compared to jaladaha. Jalam dadati iti jaladaha. The one that gives water is called jalada. Megha. Megha is referred to as jalada, jalada, ambuda, ambhoda, varida. All of these words refer to megha. Now, megha iva sajjanaha loke viralaha jai. So just like the clouds, sajjanaha, good people, are rare to find in this world. Loke viralaha. Viralaha means just here and there, just a few are born. Jayante. And how are these jaladaha? Two visheshanas are given, and those two visheshanas apply to sajjanas as well. Stimita unnata sancharaha jana santapa harina. Jana santapa harina. Meghaha kim kuruvanti. Jananam santapam haranti. Jananam klesham duri kuruvanti. So they take away the pain, the sorrow of the human beings, right? By pouring down, by giving them plenty of water. What do the meghas do? They take away the sorrow of human beings. Jana santapa harinaha bhavanti jaladaha. Evameva sajjanaha api jalasantapa harinaha bhavanti. They also help in the removal of sorrow. They, whatever they can offer to others, they do, and they help in making their lives better. Similarly, jaladaha stimita unnata sancharaha bhavanti. So they are very steady. Stimitam means achanchala, that which is not shaky, it is steady. So jalada is steady. It is not very shaky because Jalapurana Megha is steady because of the weight of water that it bears. It is steady, right? And it is lofty, right? Unnata sancharaha bhavati. It is somewhere, okay, in the sky. Similarly, Sajjanaha are also lofty, okay? They carry themselves in a very high plane, okay, just well above the average, and they are steady, okay. They have a very clear outlook of life. They have clarity. They are not shaky people, okay. They are stimitas, like the megha. They are stimita and they are unnata sanchara. They are very, they survive, they deal, they move in a very high plane, like the clouds. Stimita unnata sancharaha jana santapaharinaha jaladaha iva sajjanaha. Like the clouds, sajjanaha loke viralaha jayate. Very rare. Not often can we find them here and there. So again, one more verse. Niratishayam garimanam tena jananya smaranti vidvamsaha yatkamapi vahati garbhe mahatamapi yo gururbhavati. Niratishayam mahima garimanam tena jananya smaranti vidvamsaha yatkamapi vahati garbhe mahatamapi yo gururbhavati. So, vidvamsaha jananyaha garimanam smaranti. Okay. Jananyaha niratishayam garimanam vidvamsaha smaranti. Vidvamsaha, great men, smaranti. Smaranti, they remember, eva arthaha nasti, prashamsam kurvanti. Okay. They applaud, ityarthe, atra smaranti. Okay, so smaranti has been used in the sense of applauding, praising. Okay, so the great men think. Okay, great men think this way. So means what? Great men praise, they applaud. Whom do they applaud? Jananyaha niratishayam garimanam. So they praise the greatness of the mother. Okay, Jananyaha niratishayam mahimanam. Okay. So Niratishaya is distinctive. Okay. So they, and Garima is glory. Okay. So they praise the distinctive glory of the mother. Okay. Jananyaha Niratishayam Garimanam Vidvamsaha Smaranti. Okay. Kidrishyaha Jananyaha. So what kind of a mother do they praise? Whom do they praise? Do they praise all the mothers? No. Here in this context, it says, Mahatamapi yaha guruhu bhavati tam kamapi garbhe yasmatu vahati tena karanena jananyaha niratishayam garimanam vidvamsaha smaran. So a person who becomes the guru of even great men, okay, Mahatamapi, they are themselves Mahatma. Tesham Mahatamapi yaha guruhu bhavati. The one who can become, who becomes the guru or the teacher of great people. Tam kam api. Okay. That kind of a person, kamapi. Okay. Here when he says kamapi, it means anirvachaniyam. I don't want to say what kind of a person. Somebody who is really great. Okay. I don't know how to explain his greatness. So I say tam kamapi. அந்த மாதிரி யாரோ ஒருத்தர், somebody like that. Okay. Api garbhe yasmat vahati tadrisham kamapi janam. Okay. Tadrisham kamapi janam yasmat garbhe vahati, because she bears such a person in her womb. Because of that, tena karanena, Tadrishyaha jananyaha, the greatness of that kind of a mother is praised by great men. Vidvamsaha Tadrishyaha jananyaha niratishayam garimanam smaranti. Garimanam smaranti. They praise it. They applaud it. So great is a mother who bears such a child, who gives birth to a child, who can show the way to others, who can enlighten the entire, his entire clan, or he can benefit a large number of people. The mother who bears such a child is praised by learned men. Such a mother is praised by great men. Gariman, okay, that is the shabda here. Garima, prathama ekavachane bhavati, garimanam, dvitiyayam, garimanam. The next one. Aprakatīkrita shakti shaktopi janastiraskriyam labhate nivasan antardaruni langhyo vanhirnatujvalitaha. Aprakatīkrita shakti shaktopi janastiraskriyam labhate nivasan antardaruni langhyo vanhirnatujvalitaha. Again. So Damanaka now says, so all this time he was talking about glory as to why, and about the, about how one should not live for oneself, but live for others, etc. Okay. But so far he never said what are the repercussions of such a life when you do not live for others and when you just are satisfied by living for yourself, just feeding your stomach. When you are satisfied with such a life, if there is no problem from the external world, one is not motivated, right? Because in order to have motivation such as that of Damanaka, one has to have internally, one has to be ambitious, right? Karataka does not have that sort of an ambition. He is quite satisfied internally. Okay. So in case there is no problem in the outside world and internally he is satisfied, he cannot be motivated to pursue a particular course of action, the kind of path that Damanaka wants to pursue. So now he says, your internal satisfaction is there, but it does not mean that externally you can be peaceful having such an attitude. Externally you will have trouble. Just because you have such a resigned attitude, people are going to ridicule you. You will not be left in peace. People will not just say, oh, that person, he is a saintly person, does not bother anybody. No, they will ridicule you, that he is a worthless person. Okay, you must not, this person should not be emulated. Wherever you go, you will encounter ridicule. So you will not be at peace externally. That is what he is conveying in this shloka. He says, Aprakatīkrita shaktihi shaktaha api janaha tiraskriyam eva labhate. Shaktaha api, somebody can be capable. Okay, he can be capable of doing things. Tathapi aprakatīkrita shaktihi saha bhavati chet. So if he is not able to manifest his power outside, if he is not able to show that power outside, aprakatīkrita shaktihi, he is not showing his shakti outside, he is not able to demonstrate it for some reason. Yadi evam kopi bhavet sahajanaha tiraskriyameva labhate. He will only encounter ridicule from the society. He will be ridiculed constantly. So at least to escape from such ridicule in the society, you have to do something. You cannot just, be happy, taking care of yourself and rejecting your community and society. That should not be there, is what he says. How? There is a udaharana that is given. Yatha daruni antaha nivasan vannihi langhyaha bhavati jvalitaha tu nalanghyaha bhavati. See, vanhi, agni, when it resides inside daru, when it resides inside a log of wood, when it resides inside, when you scrub it against each other, vanhi comes out, right? But before that, when it resides inside, antaha nivasan vannihi langhyaha bhavati. So then people just Langhanam means to cross over, to transgress. Okay. So people will not bother about that one he which is inside, right? Because it is not visible to the naked eye. People don't bother about it. They will not respect that one he. He will just be ignored. But Jvalitaha chet. What if that Agni is manifest outside and it is nicely glowing now? Will people transgress that like they do to the Agni that is inside Daru, inside the log of wood? They will not do it. Both of them are different, right? Similarly, Shakti, Bhavan kadachiti Shaktaha syat. Okay, you may be a person who is capable, but still out of your own santushti, you say that, you don't want to meddle in the affair of others. You don't want to, I just want to take care of myself and mind my own business. Okay, you may say that. But then, unless and until your power comes out and you show it to people, people will not leave you in peace. You will become a matter of ridicule, like this Agni. This Agni will be transgressed. Okay, that the value of that Agni will not be known. But when the Agni glows, okay, seeing its glow and experiencing its heat, then people, they have a different attitude. They give it the respect that it deserves. Otherwise, it is not given. So Shakti that is inside, which is still in a latent form, it can become manifest at any time, but as long as it is latent, it will have no respect in this world. Aprakatīkrita Shaktihi Shaktaha api tiraskriyam eva labhate. He might be Shakta, but still he will be ignored. He will be ridiculed in this world. So Damanaka has spoken so much, and now Karataka says, fine, what you are saying is all fine only. But then what is our position? So we have to remember the first dialogue. So Damanaka basically wants to ask the king, what is the problem? Okay, what is the matter? Why have you returned? Is what Damanaka wants to ask. And then Karataka said, no, you don't have to ask. And he has given all this lecture now. Karataka again says, fine, you have told so much now. But look at our position. Avam tavat apradhanau tat kim avayoho anena vyapare. See, we are apradhanas. Okay, we do not hold an honorable position. We don't have any power. You're just there in the retinue, that's all. So we are apradhanas. We are not important people. Then why should we meddle in this affair? Kim avayoho anena vyapare. Why should we go and poke our nose in this matter? Uktancha. Why? Because that is why I just mentioned that Karataka is also a wise man. He's not a, but somehow he has this way of approaching his life. But Damanaka has another way of approaching his life. But both of them have enough worldly wisdom. That is what the poetess, the author, shows through the verses that they narrate to us. Aprishtotra pradhano yo brute rajñah purah udhihi na kevalam asammanam labhate cha vidambanam. Aprishtotra pradhano yo brute rajñah purah udhihi na kevalam asammanam labhate cha vidambanam. Aprishtaha atra apradhanaha yaha brute Rajñaha puraha udhihi na kevalam asammanam labhate cha vidambanam. What does he say? See, you might have all this ambition, but in order to exercise, some action, whatever you want to do now, that requires that you are in a position where you will be hurt. Okay. But given our present position, we won't be hurt. I will tell you why. Because apradhanaha san, when one is not a person in power, okay, when one person does not hold an important position, when one does not have a respectable position in the society or in the community, wherever one wants to express one opinion, before expressing your opinion, you need to have had a respectable position, because only the voice of those who are respected is heard. So, apradhana san, without having an honorable position. Yaha kudhihi. Kudhihi. Dhihi is a buddhihi. So, kudhihi. Kutsita buddhihi yasya saha. So, the one whose mind is not fine, who does not have a good, who is not intelligent. An unintelligent person, yaha kudhihi. Aprishtaha. First of all, he is apradhana. Okay. Second of all, nobody asked him anything. Okay. He is aprishta. Okay. Nobody has asked him anything. Aprishtaha atra rajnyaha puraha yaha brute. So the one who talks without asking, without having a good position, and that too in front of a king. Rajnyaha puraha yaha brute saha na kevalam asammanam labhate parantu vidambanancha labhate. So he not only gets asammana, that is, he is not just dishonored, he also gets vidambana. Vidambana here refers to ridicule. He is also ridiculed. Okay. It's not only that your opinion will just be taken to the trash can and disregarded, you will also be ridiculed for opening your mouth. Okay. This he has experienced. He has enough wisdom. He has learned this. That is why he says, Aprishtasanne apradhana. Look at two important visheshanas are there. One is aprishta and apradhana. Both of them add. Even if one is there, one should not open the mouth. Okay. Here both the qualities are there. Neither is he respected, nor has he been asked. So in such a stage, if somebody talks, he will not only be dishonored, he will also be ridiculed. Is what the author says. Aprishtotra pradhano yo brute rajnyah purah kudhihi na kevalam asammanam labhate cha vidambana. So we can stop here and I can take a few questions. What is the meaning of taking mother's youth? So after a child is born, the mother's beauty definitely diminishes. Okay, the physical beauty. Okay, so that is why it says that matuhu yavvana harina tena jatena. The only thing that he has done in this life is to take away his mother's youth. Nothing else. Nothing worthwhile has been accomplished by him. What would be sanchara? Sanchara means movement. No, sanchara. Unnata sanchara means having movement high up in the sky. Other questions? Rekha Mahodaye.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Madam, can we say Vijnanam is Viveka?
Vijnana is not Viveka. I have at least not see, many of the words can mean many things in different contexts, but I have never seen Vijnana used in the sense of discrimination.
So Jnanam would be Viveka then?
No, Viveka is Viveka. No? Why do you want Jnana to be Viveka? I don't understand.
Okay.
Okay. Jnanam is knowledge. Okay. Vijnanam is experiential knowledge. It is not just that which is there in book. Okay. The internalized knowledge is called Vijnana. Okay. Internalized Jnana is Vijnana. Jnana, knowledge, as long as it is outside, it is something that is outside you, is jnana. It stays as intellectual knowledge. When it is internalized, it becomes wisdom. That is vijnana.
Astu. Dhanyawad.
PG Mahodaya. Sorry, I don't know your name. PG. Yes.
Namaskara. Mama nama Panchatantra.
Namaskara.
Can you please go to verse number 1.29?
Verse number
1.29.
29. Yes.
Can you please share your screen?
Yes.
1.29. What is meant by akula?
Akula is troubled. Okay. Akula, troubled.
Okay. And 1.31.
31.
Huh.
Okay.
Here in Anvaya, it is mentioned as Yasmat. Yasmat is referring to whom?
No. Yat. I've just expanded on yat. Yat here means yasmat karanat.
Okay.
Because of which.
Okay. Dhanyawada.
Balasubramanian Mahoday.
Namaskara, Bhagini.
Namaskaraha.
There are some similar verses in Niti Shatakam also. Parivartni samsare mritah ko va na jayate.
Yes.
Sajato
yena jatena yati vamshaha samunnati. Yeah. It is there.
In fact, I felt that many couplets here, many slokas here qualified to be subhashitas by themselves.
Yes. Definitely. That is why there are so many, it is so many verses are there. They can be, very good subhashitas. So many subhashitas, in fact, that we know, the ones that are going around, okay, are picked up from Panchatantra and Hitopadesha.
Incidentally, that word is pronounced as Gaupen, I think.
Gaupen. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for that.
Welcome, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Dhanyavad.
Alambana is support. Yes. Sanchara. Yes. I think all questions are answered now. Yes, we can close. No more questions. We can close. We will see again on Tuesday. Namaskaraha. Dhanyavadaha. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.